We want to go now to PG&E headquarters in San Francisco, where they are having an update on their news conference.
Let's go ahead and listen in.
So with that, now having covered safety, let me just kind of outline what we're going to do tonight. We envision going about 30, maybe 35 minutes. Our lineup will include Sumeet Singh to my right, who is Vice President of Community Wildfire Safety Program. We'll have an update from Scott Strenfeld, who is our Principal Meteorologist. And we also have Lori Giamona, who is our Senior Vice President and Chief Customer Officer, who will give us an update about the web. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sumeet to get us started.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you for joining us again tonight. Overall, I want to iterate a few points before I turn it over to Scott Strenfeld to provide an update in regards to the weather forecast. First, I want to iterate that we understand the impact that turning power has on our customers and our communities. This is not a decision that we take lightly. And we thank our customers and our communities for your patience. Second, we would like to remind our customers and our community members as to why we are making this decision. And this decision is all about public safety, which is our most important responsibility. Given the forecast for the severe and widespread wind conditions that Scott will discuss, and the increased fire risk associated with these conditions, we took this step to ensure the safety of our customers and our communities as a last resort. And we're committed to reducing the risk of catastrophic wildfire events. I would also like to reiterate, as we discussed last night, that the Public Safety Power Shutoff program is part of our comprehensive, multifaceted approach to risk reduction measures that we are implementing as it pertains to the unprecedented wildfire risk that our state is facing. We are fundamentally redesigning and hardening our system that we discussed yesterday, including targeted undergrounding, significant increase in clearing vegetation and trees in and around our overhead assets, conducting enhanced inspections with the best available technology using drones with high-resolution imagery. We have a 24/7 center that is fully staffed. We have implemented weather stations, high-definition cameras, and all of this is providing us the situational awareness and the intelligence in regards to the weather forecasts and the subsequent risk that our communities are facing in regards to potential wildfires. With that, I'm going to request our Principal Meteorologist, Scott Strenfeld, to come up and provide an update in regards to what we're seeing with the weather forecast. Scott?
Yeah, thank you, Sumeet. Scott Strenfeld, PG&E Meteorology. So essentially, meteorology continues to track and has been tracking over the last week what we call a Diablo windstorm. Essentially, we're going to have a weather system that's going to be an inside slider, a classic setup for what we know as Diablo winds across Northern California. And then as that system moves south, Thursday into Friday, it's actually going to produce some Santa Ana winds across Southern California, including portions of our territory, the Tehachapi Mountains. And so this is a total California-wide fire weather event. Essentially, there's going to be multiple phases of this event that meteorology continues to track. The first phase occurred today. We had north winds going down the Sacramento Valley, as well as some of our adjacent terrain on the either side of the valley. We saw Redding, portions of Redding up in that area hit gusts of 50 miles per hour. And one thing I just wanted to go back and say about these Diablo and Santa Ana wind events is that these events historically are the events that cause the most destructive wildfires in California history. And so we're seeing some of the same conditions that are going to develop in this event that we've seen in previous offshore Diablo and Santa Ana wind events. So it's a pretty serious situation. Meteorology continues to coordinate with our agency partners. Every day we are joining an interagency call with the National Weather Service and the Northern Operations Predictive Services. And essentially, the meteorologists and forecast agencies are aligned that this is a high-risk event. If you don't know, there's the National Weather Service has issued widespread red flag warnings across most of Northern California, and those red flag warnings are also in effect for the Tehachapi Mountains and as well as Southern California. And what I'm showing on the screen here is that our Predictive Services Northern Operations also has this as a high-risk event and is indicating that there is a high risk of significant fires. And PG&E Meteorology is looking at similar conditions as well. We expect the weather event in totality to subside on Friday as it starts to get out of the south half of our territory. And then at that time, we'll be monitoring our more than 600 weather stations to give the all clear to our crews to patrol every inch of our assets to determine if there's damage or not so we can re-energize. So that's it in a nutshell, and I'll turn it back to Samit.
Thank you, Scott. So let's move now to a situational update in regards to the operational actions that we've been taking as a result of this potential risk that Scott talked about. The first phase of our de-energization was completed this morning. About 500,000 of our customers in the Sierra foothills and the North Bay area experienced a de-energization between midnight and 4 a.m. But we have also identified, in the interest of public safety, to minimize the impact and disruption to our customers, we have identified limited areas where we could safely energize sections by reconfiguring our electrical system, because that part of our circuit and our system was not in a high fire threat area. And as a result, we've been able to bring service back to approximately 44,000 of the 500,000 customers. Additionally, because the wind gusts have reduced in the northwest portion of the Sierra foothills, we are actively working on determining if we can bring service back to one of our transmission lines that is the primary supply of the Humboldt area. If we're able to perform this work safely this evening, which includes performing safety inspections on our transmission line to assess every inch and determine if there's any potential damage that has occurred, safely repair the damage, we will be able to bring service back to another approximately 60 to 80,000 customers this evening if we're able to do that work safely. The second phase of our shutoffs in the Sierra foothills area started around 3 p.m. and it's ongoing over the next couple of hours. Also, as part of our second phase, we are continuing to monitor weather in the East Bay, South Bay, and Santa Cruz areas, and we will be making a decision about the timing of the de-energization later this evening, because what's changed from the discussion we had yesterday is that there's a shift in the timing of the weather pattern. So we may be able to delay the start time of that de-energization. Additionally, there were some questions about the impact to some of our mass transit infrastructure yesterday regarding the Caldecott Tunnel. We were able to provide backup generation, and that's currently in place serving the Caldecott Tunnel, so that should not be impacted as a result of the de-energization. In addition to that, we were also able to mitigate the impact to the Tom Lantos Tunnel in the Half Moon Bay area, because again, we were able to reconfigure the electric supply to that tunnel and mitigate the impact as a result of the de-energization. We have also provided backup generation to 2 of our BART stations so that we minimize any potential impact to BART service as part of our de-energization process. In total, the second phase of the shutoff impacts approximately 250,000 customers. We anticipate the peak risk to continue through late part of tonight into early morning, and forecasts of the weather subsiding around noon tomorrow.